Someone asked me, what is my opinion of Jake Paul winning all these matches, okay? Now, my perspective, you got to understand this, is from, I'm a flow state specialist, so I'm mainly interested in the peak performance aspect of what Jake Paul is doing, and in terms of his spirituality, does it make sense for him? The first thing to note is, I remember back in the day, I made like a rap diss track about Jake Paul for some reason. I don't know whether it was like a YouTube challenge. I do remember I used to follow some of Logan's vlogs, but then it's really wild how, cancel culture works in that, Logan had that whole, Japan incident, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And then Jake Paul got affected by that, by proxy, right? By just being around him, okay? Being his brother, being associated with him, right? But I've noticed that if you go back to Jake's life, right, when he's younger, he's trying to win against his brother. He feels that neglect from his parents, right? And then you're seeing him grow up, and he always seems to have this theme of spite. I'm going to prove the haters wrong. Every single interview, he brings up haters. Okay? This is his flow state mechanism and drive, which will unlock. Using spite as a flow state trigger. I'm going to prove the haters wrong. That's how he beat Logan in YouTube subscribers. That's how he keeps winning all of these matches. He's transmuting that energy. Because even when he was at his lowest depression, that is what saved him. Okay, when this whole Japan scandal was happening, that really sparked Jake's depression. Like, he became depressed. And what saved him during that time was this thought, I'm gonna prove the haters wrong. That would just prove them right. Okay, me being depressed. Let me prove them wrong. And so, you understand that this storyline of this man has such a unique cultivation, okay? Not only is he learning breath work, which I got to shout out to breath work because, Lucas and his breath work ceremonies. I mean, I found out about breath work and then I immediately knew he was one of the top people. Lucas, if you're watching, bro, welcome to the channel. I see you as a flow state Jedi as well. Jake, if you're watching, holla, okay? So the more people hate this character, right? The more he is vilified, the more energy that he gets. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. This is where he can get away with fighting Anderson Silva, even though that man is a monster. So how are you gonna be the monster? You just gotta be the bigger monster. You gotta want it more bad than the other person. I don't think Anderson Silva wanted it as bad as Jake did. You see what I'm saying? There's this energy inside him that is like this reserve that he seems to be cultivating, and it seems like it's a spiritual reserve. Now, this is all my perspective. I could be totally off. I could be totally wrong, right? Maybe he's a psyop. Maybe he's a random, character that's like a puppet string and someone bigger is at play. But when he says things in terms of his rituals, his flow state rituals, before he even gets on the ring or does his thing, you see the woman with the sound bowl. You see someone, whispering in his ears. All these ancient tongues and stories of warriors, right? So he's basically altering his state of consciousness. He's tapping in before his fight. He's connecting with that divine source that he's bringing it through. Okay, he's putting his consciousness almost under a mathematical equation, and it's working itself out. And then he pulls that through. You can do this too. You have the ability to do this, okay? Before any of your actions, you can actually ritualize. And if you have a team around you, that's great, right? If you can afford a team of people whispering shit into your ears or patting you on the head or whatever, that's great. But sometimes we don't have that. So you gotta create your own adventure almost, in a sense. And I'm thinking about creating these sonic adventures, these meditations for people where they go through these wormholes of sound and trippiness, and it's almost like it would be like audio DMT experience almost in a sense, right? Where it would take people through this complete psychedelic trip and come out on the other side of the audio as it ends, making you feel completely tapped in. That is my goal. That is my vision. I don't know how it's going to manifest. I don't know how, if I got to hire sound engineers. I don't know what's going to happen with that, okay? But I know I'm just throwing the intention out there because I think it's important for us to finally actualize something like this, something in particular like this, right? Like, of course, Jake Paul can go do ayahuasca and the toad or whatever, and he's claimed to have done, to try to hijack consciousness, right? Like, trying to use consciousness as a tool to win fights, in a sense. So through that ceremony, he got to the power of "it's my heart." So now I have a purer heart than the haters. Now what happens if he loses a match? That's what I'm scared of, you see? Because he has this childhood trauma thing associated with him feeling neglected, not feeling good enough. I'm interested to see how he would handle it. But I'm sure he would have in the back of the mind, how would the haters want me to respond? And then do the opposite of that. You guys see what I'm saying? So, very interesting man, probably very talented kid. Okay, I don't know. I kind of followed him during the Vine days. And, you know, it hurts even when your own school, you know, makes fun of you and you have bullies and you have haters, quote unquote, or maybe they were there to add meaning to my life, right? But that could be a perspective too. Like, the haters were there for me to step up and actually do my thing. And he said in an interview that's his superpower, is to keep moving forward even when there are haters or comments or people judging you present. I think this is his secret weapon, okay? It can be dangerous because if you use spite in a wrong way, it could snap at any time, right? You could, and again, he has lots of brain trauma, right? So, from his football days. So, that, moving into the future, he needs to have an incredible recovery process. He needs to have an incredible flow state recovery process, an active recovery process, because I know he's going to burn himself out if he's equating feeling loved with doing well, performance. He's fucked, okay? If he's still thinking that I'm going to be loved if I'm more productive than the other person, that's workaholism. Okay, that's burnout. So to avoid having that happen, he needs to have a very, very clean recovery protocol where he gets back into the struggle phase again. He seems like he's a very hard worker, but I think he can overwork himself at times. Okay, but that fuel, that hidden fuel, that reservoir of energy that he's getting is from that FU money and the FU body, okay? It's like how Tupac, he took the word fuck you, right? And he emphasized that out into the world. Why is he calling himself the problem child? He's almost self-labeling at this point, okay? He's taken on that label. As an outlaw archetype myself, I recognize what Jake is doing, okay? I recognize because I would have done something quite similar. If I were to be put on that world stage, I would somehow find a way to heal my childhood trauma through that process. I don't know how you guys think of this video or if you think it's a unique perspective at all, but I think if you can fine tune what Jake did for your own life, it can give you a lot of fuel, regeneration potential, motivation in the very extreme direction, like if you're playing at a world stage level. Even though people are saying, oh, all the fights are rigged, or, you know, oh, this guy's, you know, just a character who's been played 1,000,000 times on a video game and now he's back, okay, or whatever your analysis of him is, you still gotta respect the guy, you know, for doing it, for really like going for this thing. You know, of course he has a weird, messed up life, you know, burning furniture, which is weird in his past, you know, he did a bunch of things which I probably shouldn't even bring up in this video, because why would I go into that side of him? You see what I'm saying? Like, And I'm not saying that to like create a halo effect around this character either, right? Like he's just a kid at the end of the day, right? Like he's just a dude. You can iconize him, but understand that he has to go through the process like anyone else. He's just using a flow state trigger and spirituality as an energy source or a fuel that he pulls from, right? Him understanding, like he grew up Christian, not knowing where he was lost, and so he found religion. He started going to church. That didn't work out for him either, so he became what? He became spiritual. He started to find his own meaning, intentions that he was exploring. I think Jake is the type of character that no matter what, he was going to try to earn your respect for him. Whether he's vilified or revered, he doesn't care, right? He's like that snake energy of just like, you can fear it, but you're gonna respect the snake, because it helps activate Kundalini too. Thank you, brothers. I think the Nagaraja wanted me to say that joke, actually. I don't know why. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Hit that subscribe button if you're new.